Howdy, and welcome back to the Texas Bucket List. Next up, we head down to the valley, to Mission, to see the namesake of this town, the reason it's called Mission. Just a few hundred yards from the slow-moving waters of the Rio Grande sits a small chapel. Since 1899, this structure has sat here, doing exactly what the missionaries that built it all those years ago had hoped for, inspiring and guiding.
They seek it because of that historical significance.
Luis Contreras from the Mission Historical Museum has no problem speaking from the pulpit about this place.
It's important to me because of where I come from. I was born and raised in Mission. This is the foundation. It's the beginning of the story.
Any long-lasting building or belief has to have a good foundation. And for the origin of La Lomita, you have to go all the way back to 1849, when Oblate priests from France brought their missionary work to Texas.
When they arrived in Point Isabel, they reached out to about Roma, which was a 100-mile stretch, and provided services to a lot of the working folk, ranch folk that lived and worked on the ranch properties.
Known as the Cavalry of Christ, the priests served 65 ranches when the chapel was built.
They thought that he had called them to celebrate and communicate the mystery and the message of his love, and they came and they did, and they were darn good at it.
Father Roy Snipes from Our Lady of Guadalupe in Mission comes from the same line of Oblates that started their mission work here all those years ago.
It was a continual, like a sacred creative energy. I hope we still have some of it. They were free spirits. They were wild, holy men, you know, and there's a lot of good stories about them.
He relies on this old chapel for strength and guidance in his daily life as a holy man.
I go there all the time, go there to pray almost every day.
People still come in here, use the kneelers, and use it for their worship. So it's pretty significant to date. Well, as we walk into the chapel, of course, you know, one of the things to remember is in those times, a lot of the resources that were being used were actually local resources. A lot of the jacal structures were made with the adobe, the mud. The chapel itself, of course, the walls also made of adobe, but internally they're still made with stonework from the local areas. If we look at the floors, of course, they use a lot of the brickwork. The bricks were also made locally. Really, looking at the structure, it's an excellent condition for its time.
It's not hard to see that back then, life was a bit different.
The world now is a little bit probably over-institutionalized and sanitized and bureaucratized, and I'm sure those guys are telling us, get down off your damn high horse, and get down a little bit more down to earth, a little bit more ranch style, a little bit more down home, a little bit more country style, and we try to do that, try to keep in touch with that.
In 1912, the Oblates built the St. Joseph and St. Peter's Seminary, a site that was badly damaged by a fire in 2009. Its facade still stands, barely, but there are hopes to revitalize the old novitiate. For now, this small chapel remains as the strongest physical connection we have to the holy riders who took to the river to spread their message of love to the lands.
They had a lot more courage and I think they had a lot more freedom than I have. I can't imagine doing that. I'm following in their footsteps, but I'm not as strong as they were.
The beginnings are always so important. The experience doesn't just come in what you read. It's in your environment, your surroundings, and when you can actually sit and visit a site that was touched by many hands, including the Oblate fathers that came through here to establish this and start the story and begin the story of Mission, Texas. It's definitely a sight to come out and see and visit.
So make it your mission to visit Mission and connect with a powerful presence in the Lone Star State that helped build the border region while establishing a message of peace and a Texan's favorite, friendship.
Get in touch with our roots on the Rio Grande River and our roots in faith and hope and love, You wouldn't have to be an official Catholic to go out there and feel like God is at work in the story of my life. Just power down and just sit there and maybe to kind of talk to Him and listen to Him from your heart without even saying any words.
It's with great pride that when I talk about the city of Mission and its history, I can point somewhere and say, you can actually visit the site where all of this started.
There's a depth where the Spirit works, and it has to do with where we come from and who we come from and the people that we miss. You get out of touch with that, you could become kind of dehumanized. That tenderizes and ennobles your heart. Good for your soul, good for your soul.